The National Capital Commission has $55 million from the federal government to fix up its assets. And on Tuesday, the NCC brought us down here behind the Museum of History to show off one of its big projects, and that's the fix of the Voyageurs Pathway.
And a significant layer of riprap, which are large chunks of boulders, will be added to this slope.
So with the changes you're making, what happened in 2017 would not happen today? Or?
No. So the idea is to make this pathway much more resilient to future flooding. So if the pathway were to flood again, it will withstand much better than it did in 2017. So this is one of the minor areas. As we progress, the damage gets worse.
The Voyageurs Pathway was severely damaged after the spring 2017 floods, and actually we took a walk down the path to see the extent of the damage. The CEO of the NCC, Mark Christensen, explained some of the fix-up needs.
The water was up to the top of those wooden pilings, and there was a standing wave about 6 or 8 feet taller out in the middle because of the current, and it was so strong. It was we've never seen strength of a current like that before. No.
Well, we have to be ready for those things because it can happen again.
NCC project manager Jamie Brown led reporters down the closed pathway to illustrate the repair work being done.
The area behind me here is the most significantly damaged area. This is where construction started in mid-July. You can see the size of the riprap, and the slope is starting to come back together. So we start from the bottom up. The riprap is installed in sections, some of it by hand, some of it by machine, to make sure it's compacted and oriented in the correct manner. As we come up the slope, we'll start to rebuild the path, rebuild the edge. In this area here behind me as well, we've introduced a new vegetation layer as well, which will also help with the resiliency of future flooding.
Along with NCC officials, there were MPs, including Ottawa Senators Catherine McKenna, who talked about the Pathway project as an environmental project.
We're seeing more and more extreme weather events. We're seeing flooding that has a huge impact. So looking at the impact and thinking about how do we build in a more resilient way is really important. And I know the National Capital Commission, the minister is thinking hard about that, because it's not about 1 year. It's about building for the next decades.
Now, the Pathway is just one of many repair projects happening in the capital region. There are repairs to roads, other paths, bridges, monuments. Now, as for the Voyageurs Pathway, cyclists and runners can look forward to returning to the path at the end of this fall.